We're back with another PaynePoints of Interest episode. I am Sarah Harbuck, and with me is Mike Payne. And today we've got a question from Reddit user Rumbuck. It says, should I put my employees on a salary or an hourly rate? Now, last week we covered flat rates a little bit, if you guys caught that episode. I thought this was an interesting kind of question. He goes into a lot of detail here with a bunch of numbers. I'm not going to read them out to you because it's really tedious. But I wonder what kind of thought process you have to go through if you're starting a company or you have a business and you have employees. What should be the standard there? Salary, just a flat salary, or should they be hourly? Mike, what have you run into when it comes to something like this? What's your experience?
There's a lot to consider in this. The short answer is, if you're just starting off, I would absolutely 100% say stick with hourly. And the reason for that is because salary comes with certain requirements from the labor department.
Okay. Do you happen to know what those are off the top of your head?
There's a lot of them. I don't know them all off the top of my head. What I do know is that somebody whose salary is, you have this big concept of overtime and the exemption from overtime. Most people try to pay people on salary to alleviate the overtime. But alleviating overtime is something that the federal government will look at pretty hard if you're doing that right off the bat. So there are requirements for overtime exemption in a salary employee. You can't just put every single employee that you have on salary, because that will definitely look bad to the federal government. In general, if you look at the rules, people who are exempt from overtime need to have a level of managerial responsibility.
So they're going to have a position where they're significantly higher up than just, say, a normal, like, cashier or...
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. They have to have significant management responsibility. So that's the number one decision to factor in. Now, of course, when you're just starting off a company, that you may be hiring somebody who's taking a lot of responsibility, and that may be just really what you have to do is pay them. Now, also, mind you, that every country will have its own set of wage and hour laws.
Sure, yeah.
And the first thing that you should do as an owner of the company is to read up on your local, state or provincial and federal wage and labor laws to make sure that you're doing this the right way.
Yeah.
Might also suggest that if you can get a human resources consultant, somebody who's been doing it for years, that it may be beneficial to have someone on hand to run this stuff by. And if you're hiring people and have not done the legwork of having an attorney from the get-go, yeah, that's going to be something you want to look into pretty quickly.
So if we're going to play out a scenario here, if you say you want to fund and start a company, but you don't really necessarily are going to be part of the daily operations, you would hire someone, say a manager or a general manager of some kind. They could possibly be on salary, but all the other employees that you would hire, say to run the front counter or do the stocking or whatever the business entails, they would be on an hourly rate because they would just be coming in on a scheduled time that the manager has set up, correct? So a manager might work more than a typical 40 hours a week and put in so much more time that paying them hourly would actually be cost prohibitive to your business, I would imagine.
Right.
So I'm guessing that's the differentiation there for anybody listening who wouldn't. I was kind of confused until we started talking about it. What would you put somebody? What are the benefits of putting someone on salary versus hourly? And I think we've kind of hashed that out because that was always that confusion in my mind. Why some places some positions would be salary, some are hourly. Now I've got it all straight. I never worked in a business where that was a thing. I was a service.
Right.
I was a service business, so I charge a price, and then that would be that. Yeah, so that's interesting.
The vast majority of your people will be hourly in most cases, unless you run a pretty high-end sort of business with a large office space, and a large office force. You can you should consider in a situation like that, especially if you're starting a business but you're not going to be involved in a lot of day-to-day, that actually a general manager of the business would actually be specified in the business operating agreement from the get-go. That business operating agreement would establish your organizational procedure. And that document would absolutely be proof of the level of responsibility and the starting salary and any changes negotiated to that salary for a general manager in the business, especially if that general manager also happens to be some sort of partner, has some sort of equity in the business.
Okay. Well, that's an interesting topic, definitely. I know that can be somewhat tricky for people starting a business, considering how they pay their employees. So, guys, if you guys have any questions or comments or further discussion on this topic, hit us up on our social media, Facebook and LinkedIn at PaynePoints, Twitter at Points Payne. I always get that confused. And Instagram at Payne.points. Or email us. Find us on our website. And tell us what you think and what you guys do in your own businesses. And catch us tomorrow for a whole other topic.